Hello, cats and kittens. Orewa Jose Yoroshku. I'm back in the Crisis Corner on Manga Monday with my impressions of One Piece 1176. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I was sick last week and didn't do a review of 1175 Nidhogg. But the main points that I take off of 1175 is we see Luffy again putting his implicit trust in Zoro. While he was down in the underworld getting all of the flashbacks and information about Loki and the past of Elbath, he had already sent Zoro. I believe Sanji was with him or Sanji came up with him. I can't remember. But Zoro was already up there. And when he comes back up after he saved the children from falling off the edge, and he sees Zoro there, and he's like, I knew everything was going to be all right because you were there. Let me see. His exact words were, "Yeah, if you are here, then at least this place is safe." Okay, so he assumed that since Zoro was up there, everything was going to be taken care of. Therefore, he could stay down there and listen to whatever it was Loki's was saying regarding the flashback, his past, Herod, and all of that stuff. So again, that shows that's his second in command. That's his first mate, and he implicitly trusted Zoro would take care of things when he was absent. That's fine. That's beautiful. What kind of I'm a Sanji dude too. And my man Sanji, he broke Summer's um, thorn vines, with the quickness. I mean, he what I'm saying. I don't know if that's a feat. I don't know exactly how strong those vines are, but he had no problem breaking those jokers and freed Robin, and didn't nobody say nothing. But that was kind of important. But he's the redhead stepchild. He always gonna get stepped over. So Sanji didn't get no love, you know. Anyway, that's a little pet peeve, or if you want to look at it that way. But okay, there's that. Another interesting thing that I'm looking at, Loki himself. I'm curious. His sole interest seems to be wrecking shop. He's at a wreck shop, beat down, whoever, and his thing is, the kids that were on his back, they're not his concern. He's just there to destroy whatever. Now I'm assuming he's there to get revenge on the Holy Knights because I mean honestly, when he was in the underworld, they stabbed him up and they treated him badly, and they're wrecking Elbath. But you kind of never get the impression that he cares specifically, or he doesn't let on that he really cares about Elbath. He That's probably just his personality. He's not one to, you know, be effusive in his emotions, I guess, and towards him was his homeland. But we'll see about that. But I'm curious because when this is over, he stands to be the ruler. Would he accept that post, king or whatever Elbath, how their monarchy or whatever works? Is that something that he would accept? Because if the people know the truth about, which they pretty much do, they know the truth about his past and that he wasn't implicit in his father, he's not implicated in his father's death, then the people would likely accept him. But would he accept being their ruler? He seems a little too chaotic for that, but we'll see how that works out. But that's just something that crossed my mind. Summers, again, he got his just desserts. Luffy put it to him pretty hard. Let me see. Yeah, he drills him with the Dawn Thor rifle, which he deserved because his plan was to recapture the children, and the children showed up. They Summers was going to uh, kill off their parents, but they stood in the way and they defended their parents, and he was going to kill them anyway. So he was like, "Yo," he launched thorns at him, and again, Zoro steps up, deflects the thorns, and again, Luffy gives him his props. What did he say? That's Zoro. Remember that name. He's with me. Again, Zoro's giving props. I want to see Sanji get a little bit of love too. We'll get to that with 1176. But Sarmas gets drilled pretty hard, and he deserved it. Hopefully, we won't. He's going to regenerate, but hopefully, we won't see too much more of him anyway. He's sadistic and mean, and I don't like him anyway. I don't like any of the God's Knights, but that's another thing. And then we find out also that the Nidhogg fruit is it's at its most powerful when used by a giant because whoever eats it turns into a dragon, and the size of the dragon it runs hand in hand with the size of the person that ate it. Therefore, he's essentially the most powerful dragon form probably that could be produced, which also makes me wonder if he went head up with Kaido, how would that fight work? So at the end of the chapter 1175, he lets loose a crazy attack that just is obliterating all the nightmare images, and he's extremely powerful, extremely powerful. And Emu states that that's where Nidhogg was all along. It was in Elbaf. He says, there's where thou were. Okay, royal speak. So that takes us pretty much through 1175. 1176 is cool in the respect that currently I've been going through a few of the old chapters. I went through Water 7, in this lobby. I went through not Dressrosa, through, where's Vivian them from? Alabasta. And I've been nostalgic for the Straw Hats, the other Straw Hats putting in work, and the crew working together in battles. So the cool thing about this chapter 1176 is we're starting to see some of the other Straw Hats get some shine. I forgot Lilith was there. It's Lilith, right? I forgot Lilith was there. I also forgot Bonnie was there. That's her on top of Frankie's head. So Bonnie is there. Lilith's there. I forgot they were even there. They were in Elbaf, but I don't know how they're going to factor into this upcoming fight. But we do see Frankie get an upgrade. I guess you could say it's an upgrade by means of the ODC, the Omni Drain Converter, which essentially sucks ambient energy out of a thing, like sucks the energy out of fire. It was a pretty ingenious way for extinguishing the flames in the library, which I'm glad they got around to, because that library has been burning for quite some time, and those books need to be saved. Otherwise, the scholars of O'Hare died for nothing. So it's very important that they put out the fires in the library. So she used the the Omni Drain Converter to suck the energy out of the fire, basically turning it to ice because it doesn't have any more energy. That was cool, and then took the energy that it converted from the fire and put it into Frankie's cola, which I'm kind of I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. Therefore, boosting the energy in the cola and therefore boosting Frankie's power level. So, is that to say that this ODC is going to be a regular fixture with Frankie and therefore give him an upgrade? That's not necessarily the power up that I thought he would get, but this is an upgrade, and the Straw Hats need upgrades desperately. I would more so be happy if Usopp, Chopper, and Nami get serious upgrades because they're at the bottom of the pecking order, and they need. If this is going to be a Yonko crew, they need to be strong. Anyway, so they put out a fire in the library. That was cool. Nami uh, also puts in work with the Rain Temple to put out the fires, but the one of the nightmare creatures swallows Zeus because she used Zeus to extinguish the fires, but the nightmare creature got eaten by Zeus. The nightmare creature ate Zeus. So one of Killingham's beasts. And the cool thing here is that Jinbei gets some shine. Not he doesn't get an upgrade, but he does get some shine. He helps put down this nightmare creature. He and Frankie put down the nightmare creature. He uses Vagabond Drill, and Frankie uses Dexter. What is it called? Super. Oh, but in fact, is it a triple? Is it a triple hit? No, no. Okay, so Frankie and Jimbei take out the creature. Uh, Frankie using one of his strong punches, and Jinbei using Vagabond Drill. They take out that creature. Then my man Sanji also putting in work, for which he really doesn't get that much credit. He uses the Ifrit, Jambe, Concasseur to crush, I believe it's Killingham that he hits. Yes. To take out, not to take out, but to deal some damage to Killingham. Now, the Holy Knights regeneration is affected by multiple hits, and I think it's multiple hits. Does it have to be Conqueror's Hockey, or does it just? I think it's Conqueror's Hockey. So I don't know. At some point, we're going to find out that Sanji has Conqueror's Hockey. I'm pretty sure about that, or something comparable to it. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out that he has Conqueror's Hockey, and at that point, he'll be effective in taking out one of the Holy Knights. Likely killing him. I thought he would get Summers, but however that works, that's fine. And while that's going on, we find out that the way to take out or to end the Dami reversing is essentially just to kill the person who's been Dami reversed, and then they will revert back to normal. Not the solution that I thought would be, not the likely solution that I thought, but fine. And then we get this cool double splash page of Harold and Dory Bragi, who have been returned to normal, Zoro and this other dude to the far right. I can't remember who he is. And they're just like, oh, so all we got to do is, kill these dudes. Bet, let's do it. Zoro ain't got no problem with it, especially if he got the green light to like put dudes down. Yeah, fine. They're all grinning from ear to ear. So that's cool. So we see things are coming together. Things are coming together. The only thing that I really want to know is how is people keep saying Usopp's going to get a hammer, get the hammer, I forget the name of the hat, the hammer that turns into the squirrel. I forget its name, but he's a sniper. So I mean, yeah, he used to run with a hammer way back in Alabasta, and that's fine. But he's a sniper, and he has observation hockey, which has never actually been. We've not really furthered that. He's not developed it to any particular degree that we know about. So I don't know how that works in his If that's an upgrade for him, it doesn't seem like an upgrade that he needs. A weapon is fine, but it's not a. It's, he's a sniper, so he should learn. I'm telling you, he needs to learn or unlock his armament hockey so he can put it into his projectiles and go to work as a sniper. But if he gets the hammer, that's fine. And then we also got to figure out how Chopper is going to factor into this because, again, his monster point's pretty strong, but he needs some kind of upgrade. Nami's already doing something. Robin has, everybody has to put in some kind of effort in this upcoming battle, but there's a lot going on, and I don't know how many people are going to get shine in this battle. So it's just curious to see how Oda works that out. But it was a good chapter. It was a good chapter because cats are getting involved. And I like that. So I believe we have a chapter this week. I hope so. If so, the battle continues. That's all I got. Comment, like, subscribe, whatever. Until next week, stay loose.